Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
Tātou karakia, taia, taia tēnei momo, taia tēnā. Whamānoa tia te toki atu, whamānoa tia te rauoro. Oi whiwhi a te tohu, oi rawe a te tohu, oi tamau a te tohu. Hi wero, taumata rau tia te tohu, hauhi e, hui e, tāhi e.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hoewha, tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. No mai haere mai rā ki te whare kawana. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings to you all and welcome to Government House. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Stuart Nash, Minister of the Crown, Police Commissioner Mike Bush, our kuia Te Ripawai Higgins, and our kaumātua, Professor Piri Shasha. Tēnā koutou. It's a pleasure to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 20 honour recipients, along with their family and friends, to recognise the contributions they have made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and the privilege, on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture for her and to confer the honours to which each recipient is entitled. Ladies and gentlemen, as each one is honoured, I invite you to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Hewitt Humphrey will now summon the recipients and read a citation for each one.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, the Honourable Peter Dunn of Wellington for services as a Member of Parliament. Peter Dunn has been a Member of Parliament for 33 years, holding the Oharu electorate for 11 consecutive terms until his retirement. He was first elected to Parliament as the Labour Party candidate for Oharu, later becoming a parliamentary Under-Secretary. After resigning from Labour, he joined the United New Zealand Party and became leader of the United Future New Zealand Party when his United Party merged with Future New Zealand. He's held ministerial portfolios across the 4th and 5th Labour governments and 4th and 5th national governments. As Associate Minister of Health, he played a significant role in delivering the 2015-2020 National Drug Policy. As Minister of Internal Affairs, he helped establish Fire and Emergency New Zealand, which amalgamated New Zealand's urban and rural fire services. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the Queen's Service Order, Mr. Robert Fowler of Auckland for services to the community. Robert Fowler established the Howick Pakuranga Community Patrol and served as chairman. He sought to network with other community patrols, which fed into the establishment of the Community Patrols of New Zealand Charitable Trust, CPNZ, of which he is a trustee, treasurer, and immediate past chairman. As chairman, he managed the first government service provider contract and established a partnership with the Ministry of Justice. He instigated the CPNZ response to the Christchurch earthquake and set up a housing scheme to shelter more than 100 displaced community members. He's been involved with CPNZ as a partner with New Zealand Police to recruit and train people of different ethnicities to help develop demographically wider police staffing. Mr. Fowler has served on the Auckland Council Subcommittee for Safer Communities. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Donald Best of Wellington for services to music. Donald Best is Chair of the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. He ensured that the NZSO contributed in a constructive and collaborative manner to the New Zealand Professional Orchestra Sector Review and its outcomes. He's led the NZSO's pursuit of new business avenues, including the recording in Wellington Town Hall of the soundtrack to The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. He's had a lifetime involvement in music, both as a player and in governance. He was the principal cellist of the New Zealand National Youth Orchestra and was a cellist in the Alex Lindsay String Orchestra. He was chair of Wellington Sinfonia, now Orchestra Wellington. Mr. Best is chair of the New Zealand String Quartet Trust and a trustee of the New Zealand Chamber Orchestra. Detective Inspector Tom Fitzgerald of Canberra for services to the New Zealand Police and the community. Detective Inspector Tom Fitzgerald began his career with the New Zealand Police and is currently Police Liaison Officer based in Canberra, Australia. He's been involved with and led numerous high-profile investigations. He oversaw the Commission of Inquiry into the Pike River coal mine fatalities. He developed a suspect interviewing model for police to interview serious crime suspects that was in keeping with the Bill of Rights. He was instrumental in developing the National Confidential Human Intelligence Sources CHIS management model and went on to become the National CHIS Implementation Manager. Under his leadership, a multi-level training program was commenced, and he's personally written training courses and delivered CHIS management training internationally. Within his local community, Detective Inspector Fitzgerald has taught children self-defense at the Christchurch Taekwondo Academy. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Alan Cook of Martin for services to river and drainage engineering. Alan Cook has been a senior executive with the Manawatu-Whanganui Regional Council and contributed to and led many flood protection schemes, as well as providing leadership input into the emergency response and recovery for significant flood and drainage events. He led the infrastructural recovery following the 2004 Manawatu-Whanganui regional floods. He's overseen the raising of flood protection levels for Palmerston North and Whanganui. He provided support and advice on the use of temporary flood barriers in the aftermath of the Christchurch earthquakes, as well as advice and personnel to other regions. Mr. Cook was previously an elected member of the Martin Borough Council and the Rangitike District Council. Ms. Nita Knight of Nelson for services to business and the community. Nita Knight is the founder and operator of the Nelson Saturday Market. She's overseen the market's development into a community hub and visitor attraction for Nelson and has been an advocate for locally produced goods, art, craft, and designers. She supported local charities and schools by providing free or reduced price stands at the market. She's known amongst stallholders for her pastoral care and has supported many people through difficult life events behind the scenes. She served on the Nelson City Council and has been active in organisations such as the Keep Nelson Beautiful Trust and as patron of the Nelson Performing Arts Society. Dr. Debbie Ryan of Wellington for services to the Pacific community and health. Dr. Debbie Ryan helped establish the community primary care provider South Seas Healthcare and served as Clinical Director of General Practice and Chief Executive Director. She's been Senior Lecturer at the University of Auckland's Department of Medicine and Community Health and the Ministry of Health's Chief Advisor of Pacific Health. She founded the public sector consultancy firm Pacific Perspectives. She was part of the governance group for the Aging Well National Science Challenge and the expert advisory group of the Medical Council of New Zealand's Best Outcomes for Pacific Peoples project. She's held healthcare agency governance roles and ministerial appointments and served on the Ministry of Health advisory and working groups. Mr. Hari Paniora of Auckland for services to Māori and education. Hari Paniora is Māori advisor at Unitec Institute of Technology in Auckland. He was instrumental in the development of Unitec's Te Noho Kotahitanga, the partnership Māori and Pākehā working together principles, and in the establishment of Te Noho Kotahitanga Marae. He's been the principal of primary schools throughout the North Island and senior lecturer in Māori studies at the Auckland College of Education. He is a kaumātua of Te Whakamaharatanga Marae and led a wānanga at his home marae in Waimamauku for 120 descendants on the history of the area. Mr. Paniora has given voluntary service for the Matamata Rotary Club, the Waikato East Principals Association, and several Lions clubs. Mr. Nigel Skelt of Invercargill for services to badminton. Nigel Skelt is Vice President of Badminton New Zealand and General Manager of Stadium Southland. He's been a New Zealand representative badminton player and has been active in the sports administration, governance, management, coaching and mentoring. He was President of Badminton Southland and Badminton New Zealand. As Chair of the Badminton World Federation BWF Marketing Committee, he's grown the organisation's commercial revenues and product portfolio. He was a founding member of the BWF Women in Badminton Committee and has worked to raise the profile of women in the badminton community. Mr. Skelt was co-project manager of the Stadium Southland redevelopment and project manager of the Velodrome development. Senior Constable Russell Smith of Blenheim for services to the New Zealand Police and Youth. Senior Constable Russell Smith is the Prevention Constable Community and Youth in Blenheim. He has developed and implemented an education and pastoral care package for recognised seasonal employees in Marlborough, led the Marlborough Youth Trust as chairman, completed a 6-month deployment in Timor-Leste, and is a member of Safe and Sound at the Top Advisory Group. He's secretary of the Marlborough Blue Light Trust, which delivers youth development activities, and led the introduction of the Combined Adolescent Challenge Training Unit and Support Programme. He leads the Street Intensive project, working with communities to physically clean up private properties. Senior Constable Smith provides community safety advice in a weekly radio show. Mr. Mark Stewart of Darfield for services to the community and sport. Mark Stewart helped establish the Hororata Community Trust after the 2010 earthquakes. He supported the Hororata Highland Games and the St. John's Hororata Anglican Church and is helping to develop a new community centre. He was a board member of New Zealand Football, inaugural chair of the New Zealand Football Foundation, and a board member and chair of the Mainland Football Federation. He's provided mentorship to Youth Enterprise, the Lion Foundation Young Enterprise Scheme, and the University of Canterbury 21-Day Challenge, and assisted Christchurch City Mission and St Andrew's College with fundraising. He is an honorary consul for Malaysia and chair of the Antarctic Heritage Trust Board. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mrs. Shona Andrell of Christchurch for services to the stroke community. Shona Andrell set up the Richmond Stroke Club in Christchurch. She was the coordinator of its fortnightly sessions and helped establish inter-club executive meetings across the region. She continued to assist with the club's organisation after suffering a stroke. She served on the Stroke Foundation's Southern Regions Council and was elected South Island President. She was appointed to the Southern Stroke Advisory Group. Mrs. Andrell was the community representative on the establishment committee that set up the stroke rehabilitation facility at Princess Margaret Hospital, where she then volunteered in the stroke ward. Mr. Warwick Grimmer of Dunedin for services as a charity auctioneer and to the community. As a charity auctioneer and master of ceremonies, Warwick Grimmer has fundraised at events for the Halberg Disability Sports Foundation, Regent Theatre Trust, Otago Community Hospice, Women's Refuge, Otago Access Radio Society, Adult Literacy, the Otago Rugby Union, and many others. He's performed his roles on a voluntary basis, refusing payment for his services, expenses, and travel costs. He was a founding member of the Rotary Club of Dunedin Central and founding chairman of Rhododendrons for Dunedin Trust. Mr. Grimmer was a long-standing member of the Otago Executive of the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand. Mr. Mike Keefe of Rotorua for services to the community. Mike Keefe has been chairperson and a trustee of the Rotorua Community Youth Centre Trust. As a trustee and member of the Rotorua Community Charity Trust, he assisted in many fundraising activities. He was involved in establishing the Whakatūpato program, which provides firearms safety training to remote and rural communities. He's helped implement various initiatives with an emphasis on youth health and service to lower socioeconomic groups. He served on several community committees and continues to support local charities. Mr. Keefe is a Justice of the Peace and served more than 40 years with the New Zealand Police. Mrs. Diane Knutsford of Timaru for services to people with Alzheimer's and dementia. As president of Alzheimer's South Canterbury, Diane Knutsford has organised a national donor programme and driven fundraising initiatives. She's organised the inaugural Memory Walk in Timaru to raise dementia awareness. She developed a successful proposal and raised funds to turn the building and grounds of a defunct local bowling club in the Botanical Gardens into the park centre, which is now used as a daycare for older people and a meeting place for other community groups. Mrs. Knutsford is also a committee member of the South Canterbury District Health Board Disability Support Advisory. Mrs. Cynthia Ward of Hamilton for services to nursing and children's health. Cynthia Ward is a nurse who specialises in the care of children with a focus on palliative care. She helped establish Rainbow Place, a children's hospice service at Hospice Waikato. She founded True Colours Children's Health Trust, which provides a nursing and counselling care model for children with serious illnesses and their families. This free service has provided support to more than 1,600 children and their families since its inception. Counselling is also provided to parents of premature babies in Waikato Hospital's neonatal intensive care unit and to parents whose babies are diagnosed with a health condition during pregnancy. Mr. Dick Williams of Lower Hutt for services to the state. Dick Williams has been court registrar across a range of city and provincial courts. He was Assistant Secretary for Courts with the Department of Justice and is currently Manager Application Support with the Ministry of Justice's Information Communication Technology Group. His team oversees many of the Ministry's most critical operation systems, including the Court's Case Management System and Collect for fines collection. He helped to develop the Small Claims Tribunal, now the Disputes Tribunal, a work management system for courts, and a court officer training program. More recently, Mr. Williams supported the Ministry's rollout of the new Criminal Procedure Act. Your Excellency, to receive the New Zealand Antarctic Medal, Mr. Randall Heke of Waikanai for services to New Zealand interests in Antarctica and historic preservation. Mr. Randall Heke was Chief Building Superintendent with the Ministry of Works and Development and oversaw the construction of a base headquarters, Scott Base, at McMurdo Sound to facilitate the 1957 Trans-Antarctic Expedition, the New Zealand government's first physical involvement on the ice. The original buildings for Scott Base were prefabricated in Wellington before being dismantled and shipped to Antarctica for assembly. Under Mr. Heke's leadership, the project was completed in 7 weeks, displaying a superior knowledge of construction requirements, initiative and endurance under harsh sub-zero conditions. The base pioneered cold porches through which personnel could freely move between buildings without being exposed to external weather, a design concept picked up by other countries establishing their own bases. He was instrumental in arranging for the retrieval of the flagpole from Captain Scott's hut at Hut Point and its erection for Scott Base's official opening. He assisted with the construction of further buildings in Antarctica in 1959 and 1960 and remained involved with Scott Base as an advisor until the mid-1980s. Mr. Heke has held positions with the New Zealand Antarctic Society, including chairman of the Wellington branch, 4 years as president of the Canterbury branch, national vice president and president in the late 1970s, and is a life member. Your Excellency, the investiture is concluded.
Ladies and gentlemen, an investiture ceremony is the most important event I hold on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen. It allows me, as Governor-General, to recognise and thank an extraordinary group of people on behalf of all New Zealanders. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse fields of endeavour, or their commitment to excellence in their field of expertise, our recipients have set a fine example to others, encouraging them in their own endeavours. To the recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories today. In your own way, you have demonstrated determination, commitment, perseverance, and compassion in your daily lives. Each of you has helped make New Zealand a better place to live. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond these shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard reflect the spirit of the words of Martin Luther King when he said, "Not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined by service." Your service has enriched the cultural, social and economic fabric of Aotearoa New Zealand. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your communities appreciate and value the impact of your work and are inspired by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements and I thank you for your service to our country. Kia ora hui tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to an end the formal part of our service today. But before we ask you through to the house for refreshments, may I ask you to stand and we'll sing the national anthem in Māori and in English.